I may be running out of clips of raw footage to work on, but there's still all too many clips for my taste, considering I feel like this game should have already gone into its ending sequence by now. Brilliant! I tried to dodge around one race bit just to land right on top of the other one that I managed to dodge less than a minute ago. Not the best way to start things off, but I suppose it could have been significantly worse. Just need to go through a portal in here and we should be able to start looking for the next key. Not that it's going to be all that much searching, since I'm pretty sure I got a guide open at this point, at least according to the number of odd pausing moments that I will have to cut down a little bit for the recording session, but I miss the days when looting an energy tank actually meant something around here. It's been quite a while since I've had to give a damn at all on this planet. It is just downright remarkable for me when I look at how I felt about this game at the absolute start, and how I feel now. Our intro into Aether was everything I could have asked for and more. And then things just petered off into a growing state of apathy that I'm just drowning in as I'm struggling to reach the ending of this mess. And while I'm pretty sure there were ways they could have kept things interesting for us for a hell of a long time, I can't help wondering if maybe part of my problem is just how long the Metroid Prime games have been. After all, my biggest issue with this and the previous game was fatigue as we got closer and closer to the finish. And my playthroughs of the Metroid Prime games have been somewhere around 2 to 3 times longer than the 2D Metroid Prime. I mean, not Metroid Prime, just regular Metroid titles, if I remember right. But then I remember with Batman Arkham Origins and Arkham Asylum, they kept me pretty interested in things from beginning to end. It was simply the narrative decisions that made City and Night more of a drag for me, and good God, was Night a massive drag that makes even this game at its worst feel amazing in comparison. Just like before, I'm not seeing an especially good way to make the trip to the other side of the chasm. Nothing other than the screw attack, and hoping that we stay in the air for that damn long. Well, there's no light for us to transfer on, so the light suit's major gimmick isn't gonna mean anything to get us over the frickin' hole here. Definitely nothing extra to see around here. Well, that certainly was a brilliant dive into the abyss. The problem is, we want the other end of the chasm, not the abyss. Really annoying that most of the Dark World is literally just the Light World's architecture, with alterations that make you wonder why they even bothered keeping that particular part of the structure or that one. Granted, I'm sure that sort of thing helped when they put such a massive game into a small disc, and boy, that must have been very frustrating for the poor people who tried to make games for the GameCube. The discs were physically much smaller than any of the other major systems at the time, since Nintendo really wanted to keep living in the world of cartridges, despite the fact that technology had moved on from that kind of easily regulated medium. Right, guess we're on the lower platform again. At least it didn't send us all the way to the other end of the chasm. That would have been especially annoying. And speaking of annoying, I can't help feeling that the light suit's gimmick just isn't enough to be worth this. Yeah. Anyway, here's yet another key. I want to say that we're grabbing them at a good rate, but again, I really feel like this game overdid the whole key thing. Well, at least it wasn't anywhere near as annoying to get out of that corner than it was to get into it. Now, just how far am I going to have to travel to get to the next one? Is it still in the fortress, or am I going to have to go to a completely different region? And better question, am I going to be done with the whole key hunt when I'm done with this clip, or is there still going to be a little more to do later? Well, I seem to be heading for a portal, so I have the feeling I might be done with the fortress now. Hopefully so, since the fortress is the only place with these bottomless pits with the awkward "let's put you onto the previous bit of solid ground you were on" mechanic. Have I mentioned how that feels out of place in an otherwise pretty unforgiving game? Because that feels like another horse worth kicking around a bit. Right, once more into the light realm, the realm that has really been pretty much got nothing for us at this point, and it's just the only place we can go from region to region from. Ah, wonderful. I took absolutely every bomb from every one of those floating bastards. Again, earlier in the game, that kind of abuse would have been pretty frightening, but this far in, when we have all the armor upgrades and an obscene number of energy tanks, it's just a minor annoyance. Definitely feels preferable to use the spider ball route than the screw attack one. Wait, why did the game feel the need to give us that tutorial message for boosting while attached to a spider rail? We've done that plenty of times by now. Good God, did they not think that anyone would backtrack this way in a game that belongs in a genre where backtracking is a major thing? Especially when all the key hunting in this game really encourages you to check and double-check every place you've ever been. Another odd decision in a rather long game that feels kind of rushed out the door, in my opinion. Okay. So we've got one portal that leads to a completely isolated room, assuming room is the right word to describe it considering the terrain. Again, I really miss the sense of fear I had for this planet back when we first landed and were trying to figure out what happened to these poor Marines. And I just can't help feeling that the game could have done more to keep that feeling going for a longer period of time if they just had a different focus for the story of the game. Maybe you let Dark Samus take a bigger role or something, but no. She's just an interesting part of the peripherals and won't be legitimately important until we get to Metroid Prime 3. And the things that are actually important in this game have been botched to the point that I just plain don't give a damn about them, or the people that we're supposedly helping by staying on this planet for so long. It probably says something about how much of a war junkie I am. That my biggest complaint about this game isn't the broken boss design or the generic first two areas, but the crappy way that they portray war here. Ugh. Right. Is there anything in this isolated chamber worth grabbing, or has it already been thoroughly raided? Huh. That pirate certainly didn't last long. I know they're less of a threat now than they used to be, but still, that seems downright disrespectfully easy. And I wish I could say that was intentional instead of just a random spot of luck. Well, that was a waste of ammo for no damn effect. I suppose it was worth trying, though, especially since I have no clue what I'm doing right now. I'm just gathering ammo and wondering why our map didn't let me see that door when I tried looking at the area before several times. I suppose that also means I should slow the footage down for a bit here. Huh. I honestly thought the ing-infested Metroids wouldn't be able to latch onto us. That's nice to know. I kind of wish I felt something about that other than mild amusement. That feels like something that should make me feel very much worried, especially since we dropped right into a bunch of Phazon, because that Metroid decided to start sucking on us as we tried jumping over this bit. No matter how I look at it, that should have been a nightmare scenario. But I'm just so apathetic to it this far into the game that I may as well be drugged. Considering the sheer number of hostiles on this planet, I'm downright shocked that someone would somehow get to this out-of-the-way place and not fire a single shot. Granted, the pirates didn't have to worry about other pirates shooting at them unless they were infested by the ing. Still, this is a dimension where the very air is toxic to touch. It's about as hostile as it gets, and they were somehow shocked that the Metroids that they brought to the planet and have been pretty hostile to their troops plenty of times in other environments would go against them here. They don't even need to be taken over by the ing to be ripped apart like this. This is not the kind of situation where anyone other than an overpowered Samus should get complacent in any way. So why the hell didn't that guy shoot at least once? Well, at least that one could figure out how to pull the trigger on his weapon. I'm pretty sure I shouldn't feel more sympathy for the pirates than the Luminoth. The pirates have been explicit enemies of ours for most of this franchise. The Luminoth are the generic space elves that wanted to live in peace and ended up in an interdimensional war instead. It should have been hilariously easy for the game to make us sympathize with one and feel schadenfreude for the other suffering. Instead, that kind of makes me think that one of the many possible alternate scenarios this game could have gone through to make things more engaging for me would actually involve kind of a situation similar to what these pirates possibly went through. There are still survivors of the Federation force we initially come to the planet to save, and as they get picked off bit by bit as we keep trying to find a way off the planet, despite the supernatural storm that kept us here, a few of them start just completely mentally breaking down, going absolutely nutso. And when we're about to get all the sane survivors off the planet, Dark Samus appears to just spitefully try to make sure as few people as possible get off this death trap, implying that she might have been at least partially responsible for the trouble in the first place. Not really a complicated thing, but still, it would get me more interested than what we have actually seen from the story of this game. I feel like such an asshole for not giving a damn that a family of Luminoth got killed out here. But this is Dark Aether. It's not like they were going through their normal day-to-day peaceful activities in a village. Hell, I don't think we've seen any towns or villages in this game at all, not even in the ruins. Ugh. Such a poor job making us sympathize with the Luminoth. I should probably be worried about that sound. Well, they aren't doing any damage to us, and we're not gaining anything from smacking against them, so I suppose I shouldn't care. Now, can this game do more to actually make me care? Something to make me feel like the trip to the end of the game felt like more than just an obligation after all this. Something that makes me look forward to more than just the next Dark Samus fight and the credits. Really getting the feeling that the noises around here are supposed to be scary for some reason, but it is just so hard to be scared of anything other than the two bosses that remain in the game when we fought so much just to get this far in, and have become so damn powerful in comparison to everything else. And again, it's pretty funny that I feel that Samus is at her least capable in this game compared to the others that we've gone through, just based on her equipment and its limits. This is the only game I could think of in the series where I feel if Samus fought against herself from another game, she would be at a distinct disadvantage. It kind of makes me wish that Dark Samus explicitly had the Ice, Wave, and Plasma beams from the previous Metroid Prime, just to help add to how she's our rival. Well, we're certainly low on light ammo right now. Was kind of hoping to see the next key in here, especially considering how many Ing we had to kill in here and the nearby dead Luminoth. Well, at least that regained some light ammo for us. We could get by without having any, but it's a good way to speed along various fights that the power beam would just make an annoying grind. And this game has been more than enough of a grind for me this far in. As always, onwards. Our troubles on Aether aren't infinite. Eventually we will be allowed to leave and start forgetting this place ever existed. Well, there's no doors after this room, so maybe that means something. And there's our key. Well, that was certainly annoying. Did they really have to put that thing so high up? Anyway, back to fast forwarding, since that's all we can do for the moment, and just more backtracking in our immediate future. I suppose it couldn't hurt to check if we've already got enough keys to get to the final area already. It's not like I've been keeping count here, and it's not like the game has been keeping track for us the same way it did for the temples on the way to this stage of the game. Just like the hint system isn't helping us find the keys to the final area of the game, even though that would be the most preferred time for the game to occasionally tell us, go here, there's something important. Wait, hold on, did I just screw attack through a Metroid and kill it? I can't really tell since the footage has been sped up, but that's what it felt like. It's not a very major thing, but it still felt pretty notable to me, especially since I don't think that was even possible. I certainly don't recall that being possible in any of the other Metroid games. Maybe I'm just misinterpreting, and that death noise was due to it flying too close to the Phazon, since that's pretty toxic even for regular Metroids. Ah, well, that little anomaly gave me something to talk about for a bit. I suppose that's appreciated. Considering the ammo bar for the light and dark beam seems to imply that our ammo could go up to 250, I have to wonder why we haven't stumbled onto more of those ammo upgrades. We certainly have run into plenty of missile expansions and a good number of various missile enhancements that go with a given type of beam. Granted, there are probably only 4 in the entire game, and we've grabbed at least one of them. I just find it funny that the game wants us to believe that the light and dark beams plus the Annihilator beam are extremely potent weapons, but they are the only beam weapons in the franchise where we have to gather ammo for them. And we have the occasional mandatory energy tank or missile expansion that we don't even need to work hard to reach, but something to make a beam keep shooting a little longer is apparently too much to ask in those same practically handed to us upgrades. Well, at least a portal I want to use is pretty close to here. I probably should have fought those guys, but considering how one-sided fighting against possessed pirates is this far into the game, can you really call it a fight anymore? Granted, we've killed a massive number of them so far in the game, and they certainly haven't killed us, but still, at one point they were very frustrating to deal with. Now they're just a minor annoyance. A minor annoyance that we've run into annoyingly frequently at this point. Okay, I feel like I'm forgetting something about how we're supposed to make it to that portal. This seems like about as good a time as any to pull back and save just for the sheer sake of having some sanity this far in. Oh, how I wish the ship would get us off the planet now.